So first, my name is Younes Hairej. I'm the founder and CEO of Aokumo. Yeah, again, thanks for having me at the InnerSource Commons community call. Now, I'll talk a little bit about what we do. So at Aokumo, we started as a professional services company, helping enterprises build their InnerSource infrastructure. So the platforms, the workflows, the engineering practices, that make internal collaboration actually work. So now we're building what we call a AI platform for AI agent to execute in a governed way on infrastructure, enterprise infrastructure. So the agenda. So here I would like to talk about first the challenge, why proving InnerSource ROI is hard. Then what to measure, the metrics that actually connect to business outcomes. Third, I'll talk about a real case study with real results. And finally, talk about the AI native future and why InnerSource isn't just for today, it's a foundation for tomorrow's AI-driven organization. So it's probably all in all about 30 minutes. Yeah, hope you find it interesting. So the challenge, why proving InnerSource ROI is hard. Now, in my opinion, there are 4 reasons. First, our measurement DNA is integrated, it's industrial. We are great at counting deployments and uptime, but terrible at quantifying collaboration or knowledge transfer. Second, returns are delayed and not linear. So the payoff doesn't show up the next sprint. It compounds over quarter. And third, there is no shared language. So every organization measures differently. So the results aren't comparable. And fourth, DORA isn't enough either. DORA stands for the DevOps Research and Assessment. So it's the 4 metrics most engineering organizations use to measure delivery performance, deployment frequency, lead time, change failure rate, and time to restore. So it tells you how fast code moves, not how knowledge flows. So we need different framework. Strategic framework. What to build, share, or buy. Now, before I show you what to measure, like the framework, let's ask first, what's worth measuring? InnerSource isn't just a practice, it is a decision-making framework. 3 questions. 1, what creates competitive advantage? Is it your CI/CD pipeline? Probably not. Is it your domain-specific AI model? Absolutely. 2, what shall we own versus rent? And most companies get this wrong, and I did my share as well. They either outsource everything and lose their edge, or build everything in silos and move too slow. 3, where do we need speed, innovate? And that's where InnerSource creates the most value. Multiple teams need the same thing. Can't wait for a vendor. Shouldn't rebuild alone. So let's keep these 3 in mind. So we've talked strategy, what to build, share, and buy. Now let's talk about proof. Like, how do we measure what matters? Not lines of code, not story points, but collaboration, reuse, maturity. So first, let's talk about what to actually track. Most teams measure the wrong things, not because they're lazy, but because the obvious metrics aren't easy to collect. Repo counts, PR, lines of code, and recently token burned. These tell you activities happen. They don't tell you if it created value. On the right, what actually matters: developer productivity through reuse, knowledge sharing across teams, operational efficiency, platform adoption. These are harder to collect, but these are the ones that hold up in a business conversation. And this is not hypothetical. I don't know if you know, but we just watched this happening in real time, actually. Amazon built an internal leaderboard called Hero Rank, ranking developers by how many AI tokens they burned. Within weeks, engineers were token maxing, running pointless tasks just to climb the rankings. So compute costs spike, and then Amazon killed the leaderboard in May and pivoted to what they call normalized deployment, measuring useful shipped code, not raw activity. So, same mistakes we're talking about here, just with a different unit. So counting token instead of counting pull request. So they're just different units, but in principle, it's the same thing. It's measuring really what matters. So the lesson doesn't change. Again, measuring outcome, not activity. So now each of these that we see in the slide connects to something a business leader cares about. Time to market. So these are shared components, mean faster shipping. Cost of duplication. So every redundant build is wasted budget. Knowledge retention. Track your bus factor. So if one person leaves and something breaks, you have a knowledge problem. So InnerSource fixes that. Platform and agility. Adoption rate tells you if teams actually trust what's shared. These aren't vanity metrics. Each one is a CFO or a CIO conversation. Now, I would like to talk about real world impact, a case study with some results. So one of our clients, Toyoshima, is a 100-year-old Japanese textile company. So for them, they have designers, and so they have different sales, different teams. So designers worked in silos, and sales needed physical samples for clients when they give proposals to clients. So this took weeks to produce, and 16% of those samples never even got used. So no way to search best design. So once they have applied InnerSource, which means open contribution, visible assets, that pattern or the pattern to client cycle dropped by about 70%. Sample testing went from 3 weeks to 2 hours, and then resulted in also 60% fewer physical samples. So sales can test 10 times more variation. So notice how this maps back to what we just covered: operational efficiency, knowledge retention, platform adoption. And this isn't about software. It's really about collaboration. So this is InnerSource as a living engineering systems. Now, as we're moving to AI agents, I wanted to also talk about how the InnerSource can be applied in this new world. So in this case, we have InnerSource as a living engineering system, not a policy doc, not a wiki. In this case, and this is what we are also using internally, the repo teaches contributors how to work. Specs define what done looks like. Structured issues mean any team can pick up work without a handover meeting. Tests get committed before code, so the agent has a contract to implement against. The partners validate in an isolated sandbox. So human hold the final gate. So the key insight here is that agents are contributors. So same inner source patterns as humans. Low onboarding costs, clear ownership, executable acceptance criteria. So again, inner source in the context of AI agents, as we're also changing how we work, but still the concept is similar, and I think it's going to get more and more important because the barrier to building is getting lower, so everyone can just vibe code, and so the ability to do inner sourcing properly in this new world is going to be quite important. Now let's continue with the AI, and we'll talk about the AI native future. So one step ahead. Sorry. Let's think about what step ahead. What I call the AI native future. So in this future, AI doesn't create intelligence. It amplifies what's already there, and that's where inner source really matters. Practicing inner source means you're already doing three things. One, measuring collaboration. This is where what we talked about earlier is going to be important now and tomorrow and in the future. So measuring collaboration, making contributions visible, and two, the visibility becomes structured data, patterns describing how your teams actually work. And this is in today's world is what we call harness. Like the context is going to be really, really important. Three, that structure enables AI amplification. So agents that review PRs, recommend reuse, understand your collaboration graph. So you're not just building better culture, you're building the operating system for AI native organizations. Before we wrap up, so I would like to have some action. The first, starting small is really important. One, shared capabilities, a library, a tool, a skill in the context of AI agents, CI templates. That's your seed, right? Second, measure, track usage, contribution, reuse. No fancy tools needed at first, just visibility. And third, quantify. So ask, if we didn't share this, how much time would we lose rebuilding it? So that's probably a starting ROI. Yes, can please. We built actually an assessment maturity tool that we can by just answering some questions, it will check your maturity versus the leaders, so that can be also helpful to measure some of the activities that teams are doing within the inner source context. And that's about it. Thank you.